The German media, kicker, Bild, etc. is reporting that Noahkai Banks is not going to be in the U.S. squad because he wants to keep his options open. And in fact, some reports claim he's leaning towards Germany at this point.
If these reports are true, this actually makes me happy. And let me explain. Hello, sunshine. I'm Alexi, Lalas, and welcome to the State of the Union podcast, presented by Zillow. Someday starts today. This is where we look at the beautiful game on and off the field through the lens of red, white, and blue-colored glasses. This show, we'll be talking, UCL recap, the masked singer, what's worse than Spursy, Valverde show, Noahkai's decision, weekend preview, Oscar out, the coddling of goalkeepers, the return of denim, best burgers, and so much more. But first, join me as always, my friend, my colleague, my guiding lights, David Mosse, a soccer savant and a Fox Soccer researcher and writer extraordinaire. Mosse, how you doing on this Wednesday, March 11th in the year 2026?
I'm doing well. I would like to announce today is my final State of the Union podcast because I've accepted a job with U.S. Baseball as their scenarios guy. Did this hit your radar last night? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The game last night, the embarrassing loss to the Azzurri.
Correct. But so we're talking about the World Baseball Classic, which we're covering on Fox. The U.S. played Italy last night, and ahead of the game, the U.S. manager, Mark DeRosa, gave interviews which revealed that he was under the impression the U.S. had already qualified for the next round, when in fact they hadn't. It might have affected some of his coaching decisions. The U.S. promptly lost, and now they could get knocked out today. We're taping this on Wednesday afternoon. Mexico is about to play Italy, and depending on the result of that game, the U.S. could be out.
Can you imagine if Greg Berhalter, for example, did something like this? But wait, in soccer in general, they would already have fired the coach. Gone. Bye. Arrivederci. Ciao. You're gone.
And by the way, this is Italy baseball. If this was Italy soccer, the two teams today would arrange for whatever result sends them both through at the expense of the U.S. It's harder to do in baseball.
I know. Hey, but listen, given the futility of the Italian national team relative to World Cups, they might send some of these Italian players that I saw last night because they were big and strong and all that kind of stuff. Anything else before we light this candle, or we should just get to it, right?
Well, I just want to say, because we talked about this on our last pod, the Knicks did, in fact, lose to the Clippers. So they're now 0-3 this season with me in attendance.
We talked about that guy that scored a bunch of points, too, in the NBA, too, right? What was his name?
Adebayo, 83 points for Miami Heat.
Even I, that knows nothing about basketball, know that the regular season basketball, there's no defense anyway. So, anyway, all right, shall we light this candle, my friend?
Let's do it.
Where should we start?
The UEFA Champions League round of 16 is off and running, and we had incredible action the last 2 days. We'll take them in reverse order. We'll talk about the Wednesday games first. The glamour tie of the round was Real Madrid, Manchester City. 5th straight season they meet in the knockout rounds. Real Madrid hosted the first leg, and they won 3-0. Federico Valverde with all 3 goals. One of the great performances you'll ever see. It actually could have been worse for City. Vinicius missed a penalty in the second half, denied by Donnarumma. Nevertheless, they now face an uphill climb at the Etihad next week.
Yeah, this was an ass whooping. And Valverde, what a wonderful. All 3 were first half. Is that right?
Yeah.
This
and each one better than the next.
That touch over the top. And then to have the wherewithal to get around the defender and then put it in the side netting. Just a wonderful performance from. Obviously an incredible player, but in general, too, it was Madrid making City look like children out there.
Really poor from City because Real Madrid are shorthanded right now. No Mbappe, no Bellingham. They're struggling against the riffraff in Spain every week. It looked like they were there for the taking, but City really laid an egg. And Erling Haaland, we might need to start having a conversation about him. Just 2 non-penalty goals in his last 17 games. He was subbed out today, ineffective, barely touched the ball.
Well, I think he's getting ready for his first World Cup. I think he's going to put on a show for us. When I say us, I mean Fox when it comes to the World Cup. And we'll give him that. But yes, from a City perspective, he looks a shell of himself, at least at this moment. But I would have him on my team. And
by the way, this is not a second guess. I thought this at the time. Valverde should have taken that penalty. He's in a zone. Vinicius is not a good penalty taker. He's come up with this new Bruno Fernandes, Jorginho-like skip but it's not working. That was an awfully taken penalty. And that could prove to be big because I think 4 goals is insurmountable. 3, City might still have a chance. You get an early goal next week. You get the crowd into it.
All right, should we head off to PSG Chelsea? A little misleading, this scoreline.
Yeah, that was the other glamour tie of this round. PSG played host to Chelsea today. They won 5-2. To your point, it was, for a lot of this game, it was a back-and-forth affair. Barcola 1-0, Gusto 1-1, Ousmane Dembele 2-1, Enzo Fernandez 2-2. But then Vitinha makes it 3-2, and Kvaratskhelia, who had come on as a sub, scores the 4th and 5th. 5-2 the final, so the defending champs in very good shape to advance.
Yeah, there was this moment there where you were looking around if you're PSG saying, what is going on? And yeah, it flatters this 5-2 scoreline. But ultimately, they don't care if it flatters or not. They just care if there's a result. Fun game. Both of these games were fun to watch. We all came into the studio here when we were watching them here. So that was good.
It's amazing to think that at one point in Ousmane Dembele's career, he was a player who flattered to deceive and lacked an end product. That second goal, did you see how coolly he handled that break? Just cleared space and then...
Maybe, I mean, I don't know if this is the case. I've never been at that lofty level, but even great players, they sometimes need validation, and that can come in a number of different forms, whether it's somebody else, whether it comes from the outside, whether it comes from the inside, and maybe he just needed that to kind of prove to himself that, Dumbo, you can fly. You don't need that feather.
Chelsea hosts Newcastle this weekend. This was controversial. PSG are off because Liga moved their game against Nantes to a different date so they would have more time to rest for the second leg against Chelsea. Some of the other French teams were upset about that. PSG are in a tight title race with Lens right now, and Nantes are battling relegation. So why are they fudging with the schedule just to help PSG in the Champions League? That was a bit odd.
It's the French. I mean, they do interesting things.
Early today, Leverkusen and Arsenal played to a 1-1 draw in Germany. Andrich scored for Leverkusen early in the second half, but then late on, Malik Tillman, who had come on as a sub, took down Madueke in the box. Havertz converts the penalty, 1-1 the final. If you're wondering, Trip Westmoreland, Arsenal fan, also a proud American, I asked him, was he conflicted in that moment? He said absolutely not. He was very happy Tillman made that mistake.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the grin on producer Tripp's face when we came in here. And there was, like you said, I think there was some scuttlebutt about how he was rooting and even rooting against Malik Tillman. And he wanted to clarify that, saying, no, he was not doing that. He was rooting much more for the actual penalty as opposed to, in this case, a great American having a rough outing.
I will say Tillman's influence has waned the last few weeks. 5 of his last 6 appearances for Leverkusen have come off the bench, and committing this penalty late on is not going to help matters. So if we were doing kind of a stock up, stock down thing right now, he's kind of a sneaky stock down.
Yeah, I mean, okay. That's fine.
And life doesn't get any easier for Leverkusen. They host Bayern Munich this upcoming weekend. Arsenal host Everton. City, I neglected to mention, they're away to West Ham as the Premier League title race rolls on.
Well, it's an opportunity for Tillman to, get his stock back up in our eyes, or maybe in your eyes.
Tillman.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Tillman.
You've got Taylor Twellman on the brain.
I don't know why I have Tillman on the brain.
We know the Cinderella story of this season's Champions League is Bodø Glimt, and it continued today. They hammered Sporting 3-0 in the first leg in Norway. They've really captured the imagination. I have a friend, Jack Ross, who's been so taken by this Bodø Glimt story. He organized a group outing to a pub today to watch this game.
Really?
Imagine walking into a pub. Real Madrid are playing City, PSG are playing Chelsea, and you ask, can you actually put Bodø Glimt Sporting on?
At what point does it always remain Cinderella because of the relative size and how small it is and how little money they spend, or what point do you get over that?
At least for this season. If they were to do this several seasons in a row, then it stops being Cinderella. Okay, so now we go to Tuesday's games. Atletico Madrid hammered Tottenham 5-2. Johnny Cardoso went all 90 minutes for Atletico. The goals, Julian Alvarez got 2. Llorente, Griezmann, and Lenormand got the others for Atleti. Porro and Solanke scored for Tottenham. The big story here, though, was the Tottenham goalkeeper situation. Kinski, a surprise starter over Vicario. Atleti scored 3 goals in the first 15 minutes. Kinski made horrific mistakes in 2 of them, and he was promptly yanked by Igor Tudor. A lot of people thought that was harsh. They felt sorry for him. It doesn't sound like, based on your post on X, that you're going that way.
I don't feel sorry for him and I can still recognize that it's not a good look for him. First off, let's just talk about the actual game, okay? Because he was not necessarily all of the problem, certainly part of the problem. But, I had asked over there on the old X machine, is there a word for worse than Spursy? Because whatever that word is, that's what we saw in the way that Spurs approached this. I mean, Pochettino evidently was in the stands watching. And if he was, and with all the rumors flying around about where he may or may not go, who knows? I mean, that would be a reclamation type of project for him if it was Spurs, and he might be looking elsewhere, and that might be a bridge too far. Okay, when it comes to the goalkeepers, as I've said before, goalkeepers are, you can't live with them. You can't throw them off the bridge. They are at times a necessary evil, but they will save your ass. And I am one of millions of defenders that over the years a goalkeeper has gotten me out of trouble and saved me from, the dumb things that at times I would do. Having said that, there is a coddling that has come for goalkeepers. And this is historical, right? We've always protected goalkeepers. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be protected. And if Brad Friedel or Tony Meola or Tim Howard were here, they would say, you have to understand, we're going up in the air. Well, a couple of things. One, unlike anybody else, you get to use your hands. Two, you are protected like a rare species oftentimes for the things that you are done. And even the mere glance at times will be called as a foul. Thirdly, you are part of a team. Now, yes, it is rare for a goalkeeper to be subbed, and oftentimes it just does not happen. And so when it does, it is highlighted, and I think rightfully so. But you are a player within the 11. And if and when you don't do your job, and let's be honest, your job is to save the ball. If you don't do that, just because you are a goalkeeper shouldn't preclude you getting taken out. I know it's a very performative type of move in this case, the way that it looks. Goalkeeper's going to be fine, but let this certainly be a lesson that you are not beyond reproach when it comes to playing poorly and then getting yanked, like every other player of those other 10 would be if they had a performance the way you had.
So if we did a pod and I caught 2 rundown mistakes in the first 5 minutes of the show and I wanted to yank Sean or Tripp off the chair and put the other one in there, you'd be okay with that?
Yeah. I mean, they understand the job. And again, I don't think that they should be treated with kid gloves. I think that this, again, it's not a good look. And I know people were coming down on the coach for, you buried the player and blah, 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 blah. This is not AYSO, Mosse. These players are paid and paid a tremendous amount of money, in this case, as a goalkeeper, to save the ball. So save the ball. Don't make stupid passes out of the back. Don't put yourself or your teammates in difficult and dangerous situations. And if you do, we will take you out and we will find somebody else that can do the job better.
So no sympathy for Kinski.
No sympathy for Kinski. And I hope he goes on and has a wonderful career. But it's not just no sympathy for Kinski. It's criticism for those that think because he is a goalkeeper that he should be treated differently and that he shouldn't face what every other player faces, which is if you don't play well, we are going to take you out, put you on the bench, and find somebody else that can do your job.
You mentioned the mistakes came with his feet. The third PSG goal today by Vitinha originated from a terrible Jorgensen giveaway, the Chelsea goalkeeper. Real Madrid almost spoiled their great performance. This 18-year-old Thiago Pitach in his own box was dwelling on the ball and got it poked away, and Courtois had to make this incredible kick save to bail him out. I know playing out of the back continues to be a pet peeve of yours.
Well, yeah, and for those that have listened and watched over the years, it is in that it's not that I can't appreciate playing out of the back. It's also not that I can't recognize when it is on and when, but more importantly, when it's not. It's that it has become so much a part of the psyche and the ideology of the game that players in multiple positions, but certainly when it comes to the goalkeeper, that don't and aren't equipped to do it still do it. And it's amazing to see some of these players, and in particular the goalkeepers. And if you go watch a training session, oftentimes, yes, there is times where they're saving the ball, but a lot of it is the rotation of the ball and hitting those diagonal 35-yard balls oftentimes to the outside backs. And I'm not saying that that isn't good and that doesn't at times get you out of pressure, but the wheels that I see spinning in the goalkeepers' heads in the modern day relative to playing out of the back are wheels that either didn't exist or certainly weren't spinning for a whole generation of players. And I know that sounds like I'm grumpy old man anything. No, that's not the case at all. Hey, by the way, you could also find today moments where teams didn't play out of the back and were incredibly successful.
The first Real Madrid goal,
there you go.
Courtois with incredible.
By the way, what a touch! What a touch into Valverde and 2 touches, by the way, then around Donnarumma. So anyway.
Tottenham are away to Liverpool this upcoming weekend. They're 1 point above the drop zone with 9 to play. It's only been 4 games under Igor Tudor. They've lost all 4. I would not wait much longer to make another change. This has been a catastrophic hire. This guy is not going to keep them up. I think if he remains the manager until the end of the season, they will go down. So it sounds like he's going to coach against Liverpool this weekend. But if that goes poorly, I would seriously think about getting rid of him, bringing in like a Sean Dyche type, just somebody can grind out enough results.
But you think it's a practical necessity for them to change it. You know, it's not like, oh, it just didn't work and we just don't like him. You think if they continue on with him, he has proven to be so poor that they will go down.
Yes.
Wow.
2 quick notes on Atleti before we move on. Griezmann has confirmed he's not leaving until the end of the season. So the soonest we would see him in Orlando would be in the summer, which is what we thought all along.
Yep.
And then Julian Alvarez, who scored 2 goals in this match, also making noise about leaving. He's being linked to Barcelona. Speaking of Barcelona, they played to a 1-1 draw away to Newcastle. Both goals laid on. Harvey Barnes scored for Newcastle. Then in stoppage time, Lamine Yamal equalized from the penalty spot. I criticized Vinicius for taking the penalty. I thought it was significant that Lamine Yamal took this one instead of Rafinha. It's another moment of him sort of establishing himself that this is his team.
Yeah, and there was no argument from Newcastle because it was a penalty. And I think they recognized that they were just hanging on for dear life. And you know, Newcastle, I think, played a very good game, and I think it was ultimately it was a fair result. But there certainly was a point where Newcastle was looking around, saying we could possibly win this game, and so I don't think that there was an element of surprise, disappointment, but not surprise for both the players and the faithful when it came to this result. Even though they left it late, Barcelona left it late.
Bayern Munich won 6-1 away to Atalanta, and Harry Kane didn't even play in this match. Olise got 2, Gnabry, Nicholas Jackson, Musiala also among the scorers. Yunus Musa came on as a sub for Atalanta. The one sour note for Bayern, Alphonso Davies came on as a sub, making his return from injury and got injured again and had to come off. Doesn't sound like it's anything serious, but if I'm Canadian, I'm concerned that this kid can't stay on the field. I
mean, you saw him. He was, covering his face and looked like he was distraught and crying coming off the field. And so now you think, oh gosh, this is horrible. And for him, but also for Canada. And remember the whole brouhaha between Canada and Bayern Munich and Alphonso Davies? I mean, that all kind of started between the two. But like you said, at least for now, it looks like it's not as serious as the pictures made it out to be, and we will knock on wood, because I want to see Canada do well, and I want to see Alphonso Davies be able to play in a home World Cup.
If Canada had any sense of humor, they would put out a statement critiquing Bayern for playing Davies in a match of no sporting consequence. Because remember, that was the Bayern statement.
Exactly. Yep.
Davies got hurt in the Nations League third place game.
Oh, my goodness. But you would, I think, agree with me that Bayern Munich is a completely legitimate and fair team to look at right now as contenders.
Absolutely. Arguably the favorites. Yes. Okay. They're playing incredibly well. You don't even reference Yunus Musa anymore. He's so out of our minds.
No.
No. Atalanta, they are away to Inter this upcoming weekend in Serie A. Finally, Galatasaray claimed a 1-0 home win over Liverpool. Mario Lemina with the only goal. You might recall, Lex, at the conclusion of the league phase, in which 5 of the top 8 were English, there was all this talk about the Premier League domination and how we effectively have a Super League already, and with all that money, how can anybody compete with them? Well, there are 6 English clubs involved in the round of 16. None of them won their first leg. It was a disastrous couple of days. So the English all of a sudden licking their wounds.
Yeah, don't worry about the English. They're gonna be just fine here.
Boy, I teed you up there. I thought you were gonna.
I know. I want to pace myself because obviously we have this summer coming, and the English are coming, and both on and off the field they're coming, and we will welcome them in. But again, in the back of the recesses of my little brain, I have this horror nightmare of England winning the World Cup on our shores on our 250th birthday.
Yeah, just to put some numbers on it, it was 2 draws and 4 defeats for the English the last 2 days. Some heavy defeats too. City 3-0, Tottenham 5-2, Chelsea 5-2.
Yeah, they're going to be
although I do think Liverpool turned this around back at Anfield. I will say Galatasaray have a Brazilian midfielder named Gabriel Sada, who's a very good player, came up with São Paulo and played at Norwich alongside Josh Sargent. And he's getting some national team buzz. Evidently, Carlo Ancelotti has been impressed with what he's seen from him in the Champions League. So he might be a surprise name to pop up.
There we go. Maybe number 26 in the roster.
We also have Europa and Conference League action on Thursday. Crystal Palace involved in the Conference League. Chris Richards and company will face a Cypriot club, AEK Larnaca.
Ooh, all right. Well, and explain to the folks again, what's the Conference League?
That would be below the Europa League.
So below the NIT.
Correct.
All right.
This upcoming weekend in Serie A, Lazio will host AC Milan. Another chance for Christian Pulisic to end his drought. Remember, 0 goals, 0 assists this calendar year.
Yep. And we talked about on the last pod about the Christian Pulisic versus Weston McKennie. At least now we're talking about it with Christian Pulisic being on the field, and so we hope that continues this weekend. But you got to go to Rome and play Lazio. So.
And then this upcoming weekend in Major League Soccer, several good games to look forward to, including Toronto hosting the Red Bulls, Michael Bradley as a manager going back to face his former club.
And possibly we'll see Josh Sargent for the second time, I guess, right? Or did he play last week? But anyway.
No, this would be his debut.
This would be a debut. Okay, yes. So we'll see Josh Sargent. And I'm really, really interested to see what Josh Sargent looks like in Major League Soccer and, playing at home. Michael Bradley licking the wounds and the young team that he has and assembled and all of the excitement around that young team. Now they got to get themselves back into fighting shape here. But that's not easy going up to Toronto. But Michael Bradley knows Toronto in and out in terms of that club, so he will have them ready, I am sure.
Inter Miami will be away to Charlotte. Should be another big crowd. This match taking place at Bank of America Stadium, capacity 75,000.
Man, I mean, we talked about the business of Messi. And, their ability to be that super club, both in terms of the numbers that they generate, but also in terms of the results that they generate and the results home or on the road here. But I'm looking forward to this one. This is interesting. Not that people have underestimated what Messi and company is. It's just, how do you stop it? How do you solve a problem like Maria? How do you solve a problem like Messi?
Vancouver will host Minnesota. It sounds like James Rodriguez will make his debut for the Loons. Did you catch what he said in an interview? He was asked if he's going to make his debut this upcoming weekend, and he said, yes, with the grace of God, against Muller's team. I don't know what it's called. Vancouver, I think. It's nice here.
Well, maybe somebody told him it's indoor, so it's warm, and he won't have to worry about the actual the cold climate that he's had to deal with over the last couple of weeks. All right, well, it's nice of him at some point to get on the field and actually play. We know this is all in kind of preparation for this summer, and he's a legend, and he's playing for I think one of the favorites when it comes to Colombia. But it'd be nice to see him actually play. And by the time he lands over there in Vancouver, I'm sure he would have figured out the team that Thomas Muller plays for.
Timo Werner and San Jose will host Seattle.
Timo Werner. And company up there in Seattle. Oof. Timo Werner. Mosse, when we talked about Timo Werner, when all is said and done this year, we mentioned on the last pod that Bruce Arena is way up there in terms of the top 3 of playing American players, and yet he has this at his disposal in Timo Werner. When all is said and done this year, what do you think Timo Werner, where do you think he is in terms of scoring goals? He came in last week and was influential, didn't score, but was influential in the game.
I think he'll have a good season. He'll put up some decent numbers.
Not Muller-esque type, though.
No.
Because he's not as good, or because he's not playing for a team as good?
Both.
Okay.
You know, when he first signed, I know John Strong and Stu Holden exchanged texts about it, and it was one of those cool, like, they remember covering this guy at World Cups and Confederations Cups, starting up top for Germany, and like all these years later, hey, look, he's in MLS.
Right.
You know, so.
And, you know, he was always really fast, but not ruthless in the finishing. And I don't think that has necessarily changed in terms of his finishing. But if and when he doesn't have that speed, can he make up for it with the experience that he has and just being smart on the field? It remains to be seen.
Atlanta will host Philadelphia. That's the Fox game. The Union have lost their first 3 games. That's last year's Supporter Shield winners, still seeking their first points of this campaign. Now, I got to look at the Union last night. We covered the CONCACAF Champions Cup, the round of 16 off and running. The Union hosted Club America. They lost 1-0. Brazilian Rafael Veiga with the goal. Big point of interest for me, Cavan Sullivan started this match. It was interesting to see a 16-year-old in that type of game against the strong Mexican side. And I actually thought he acquitted himself well. I was surprised he came off as early as he did. I thought he provided some real flashes in the first half for the Union. So I'm hoping we see more of him. I'm kind of on the Cavan Sullivan train here.
Yeah, even though it was ultimately ruled a foul, whatever, that move down in the corner where he flicked it up, I mean, that was very Brazilian-esque in kind of making something out of nothing. But Atlanta's not doing great things either, right? They haven't gotten a win yet this year either. So pressure on both on these clubs to figure it out.
And Orlando City have lost their first 3 games, and that spelled the end for Oscar Pareja. He was fired today.
Many years down in Orlando, and I think it had run his course. We talked about the game against Miami, where Miami came into town, and they kind of had it in the palm of their hands, and then they let it go. But they're sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference there, and have yet to win a game, and lost 2 games at home. So I think they recognized in Orlando that it was not going in the direction, and whatever magic Oscar had over the years had faded, or in some cases had just completely gone away. So I think this is going to be ultimately good in terms of a change for Atlanta, and I think Oscar probably needs a change of scenery too.
That is it.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, time for Ask Alexi. Okay, welcome back. It's time for Ask Alexi, that part of the show where you send in your comments, questions, and concerns. Keep in mind that our handle out there on all the old social media platforms is SOTU with Alexi, and you can use that hashtag AskAlexi, or you can call into our State of the Union podcast hotline, which is 657-549-2297. That's 657-549-2297. Mosse, what do the folks want to know today?
First up, not really a question. Adidas is bringing back the iconic 1994 denim U.S. jerseys, and you and Kobe Jones took part in the ad to announce this.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of comments on this. My good friend Clay Travis over there, seeing this news and not knowing what was going on, was like, hey, because all sorts of nostalgia going on, and retro clips of 1994 are out there, and he saw an old clip of us running around in the faux denim and jeans on the field and all, and he was so excited. He was like, yeah, you got to bring this back. Well, ask and ye shall receive, Clay and everybody else, because as you mentioned, Adidas, in their infinite wisdom, has decided to bring it back. So denim is back, my friends, and it is glorious, and I think that things are cyclical, right? And they come back around. And I think that there's a generation that would look at this aesthetic from 1994 and be really, 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 really into it. Myself, our good colleague and friend Kobe Jones, and a young skater, Lil Dre, are featured in the latest drop from Adidas, which is this line. And so it's not just the jersey, it's the sweats that we used to wear, and it goes to shoes and everything with the denim motif. So I love a good unboxing out there on the old YouTube machine out there. People love to unbox things, and so Adidas has sent me this, And you can see on the outside the Adidas logo and obviously the denim on the outside. So let's open this and see what we got here. So there we go. All right. Whoa, look at, there's Lil Dre right there. Looking good. And yep, there it is. A wonderful retro 94 denim jersey. I'm going to bring it out. Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness. Let's see what we got here. I don't want to wreck it. It's just so nice and beautiful here. All right, here we go. Oh my goodness. There it is in all of its glory. Now, I should explain some things. So back in 1994, Mosse, the U.S. men's national team, their apparel partner was Adidas. And this was obviously done by Adidas. In 1995, the year after the 1994 World Cup, the United States Soccer Federation switched to Nike, and they have been with Nike ever since. So if you look at this incredible throwback retro, it does not have the U.S. soccer patch up here. Obviously, that is proprietary to the United States Soccer Federation, and since they have a deal with Nike, that's where that crest can be found. But you know what? You guys are creative out there. And again, love Nike, love Adidas. I'm looking forward to seeing what the jerseys look like for this World Cup this summer. But if you're Adidas, you're saying, all right, what are we going to do? Well, I think they're going to make some money, and they're going to make a lot of people happy here with this. So thank you to Adidas. You can check out all of those different things that are happening out there. Whether you're Clay Travis or anybody else out there, you have the opportunity to sport this yet again with the revival of the 94 denim look from top to bottom. And it was fun doing the campaign, and it's out there right now. So look for those out there this summer too, when it comes to the not just the U.S. games, but I think the World Cup in general. What else do we have here, Mosse? What else do you want to talk about?
Well, we're still on the kits, right? Because Trip would like to know, what are some of your favorite kits of all time?
Oh, okay. I think I did a power rankings a while ago, and if I remember correctly, I think I had, there's the old classic from way back when that I just absolutely love when it comes to I think it would be the 1950 jersey, which has just the beautiful old crest and one of the sashes. I'm a sucker for a sash, and it just screams of old. And then the Centennial one that they had, those types of things. I mean, sometimes you associate quality with the performance on the field. So the way that the U.S. team looked in 2002 when we had that famous 2-0 over Mexico, I loved those. Those were kind of, for lack of a better word, like armpit ones where the colors were in the armpits. I think the Waldos have grown on me, so they would certainly be it. And I loved the kind of red and white here and then the blue shorts and the way that all looked. You know what else has grown on me is the bomb pops over the years. But still, my number one is always going to be denim, and obviously I'm biased when it comes to what we have over there.
You've been busy, my friend. I'm told you also made a television appearance of some sort.
So by the time that you are listening and watching this, you may or may not have heard, but last fall, for a number of months, I participated in The Masked Singer. And we are recording this on Wednesday, and tonight I am being unmasked, if you will. I had an absolute wonderful time on this show. So much fun to be able to go out and to sing, especially on that platform, the history of that show, and the wonderful men and women behind the scenes that do absolutely everything to make you look good, but also to feel good. My costume and my persona was high voltage, and I just had a blast doing it. And I think we have some footage here of some moments during the show and the clues and the weeks that I spent living literally inside this character.
Wow.
Wow, that was something.
Wow.
Wow, that's really cool.
Amazing. He got you guys.
Oh, my goodness.
He got us.
So that is the unveiling, the unmasking, and shout out to a couple of people. Number one, the late great Mrs. Van Heusen, who my mom would send me kicking and screaming down the road, the 2 blocks, to take piano lessons from. Also, the late great Mr. Bellinger, who was my vocal coach. Music, as you know, has been a huge part of my life and continues to be. And this opportunity to kind of, obviously, behind a mask, live this character was just wonderful. And as I said before, it takes a village, and this is the 14th season, so they got a lot of history when it comes to the people that work with you, and whether it's the vocal coaches or the tech, audio, obviously costume. And this costume was, as you can see if you're watching, it was incredibly heavy. So much so that it actually, the weight on your shoulders pushed down your diaphragm. And so it's actually kind of very difficult to sing, sweating my ass off, but also a whole nother level when it came to the technical side of it and all the different lights and the circuitry and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, all of that is to say, Mosse, is that there were times this last fall when I know I told you guys and folks here that I just had to go and I couldn't be around, thanks to Stu Holden for sitting in. This is all done, obviously, very quietly, and you have to be anonymous, and they take privacy and keeping the secret very, very seriously on The Masked Singer. I would come at times into our parking lot, and I would park in the far side of the parking lot at the very bottom floor, and I would slink down so as not to see anybody, and a car would be brought up to the side of my car, and I would quickly get into that, change into a mask and a hoodie, actually that says, do not talk to me. Not like in a funny way, like you are not allowed to talk to anybody that is wearing one of those. And then they would whisk me off to another side of the Fox lot, and you would, prepare and figure out what you're singing and go through, like I said, vocal coaching and choreography, and then do rehearsal and do all this different stuff. So really, really good time. It's wonderful. For anybody that picked me out, because they give clues along during the season, if you were a soccer person, I think you probably could have figured it out. The judges were all over the map in terms of, they called for John Travolta at one point and John Stamos. There was a Greek vibe going on. Even Tom Brady. I think they got that it was kind of an athletic part of the show. So anyway, really, really good time.
On the topic of you and music, is that a CD I see over there?
Yeah, this is a CG over here that it came out. Actually, I put that one out when I was in Italy. I've since put out, I don't know how many since then for all 3 of my fans, including my mom. I should also shout out to my mom, like I said, for teaching me my first chords on the guitar. And, I did all the things that a lot of musicians did in terms of, like I said, from a very young age, taking music lessons and then getting into garage bands and playing in talent shows and all that kind of stuff. And, I continue to do it in music, like I said, has been and continues to be a big part of my life. I sang a bunch of different songs and all over the spectrum, some Tears for Fears, some like pop and pop that I didn't even know. I didn't know who some of these artists were. There was an Ozzy night where I was singing Ozzy. And so it was just really, really cool to get that spectrum. And, to kind of, people have preconceived notions of who you are, and what you will be. And so behind that mask, you can kind of dampen those down a little bit until the reveal.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
You think those people actually know who you are? That seemed like some overacting there when you first...
No chance. No chance. But it goes both ways because I didn't know who some of them were either.
I mean, if they're guessing Tom Brady and John Travolta...
They were. I apologized to them saying, I'm sorry that I'm not the people that you wanted to me. But it was wonderful in terms of... also spreading the gospel. We talk about what's happening this summer, and from a Fox perspective, letting people know that the World Cup is. So wonderful little cross promotion there too.
Excellent. All right, that's it.
All right, let's take a quick break. I'll come back and I'll give you my one for the road. Okay, welcome back by the sight and sound of the van. You know it's the end of our show, and at the end of each and every show, I give you my one for the road. Mosse, you want to tee this one up?
Yes. Today, the one for the road is also the home team update presented by Zillow. Someday starts today.
Nailed it.
Young Noahkai Banks has been a big topic on this pod of late. We recently mentioned that he was also in contact with Germany, and the German media ahead of this March window, and we know the U.S. squad will be announced early next week. The German media, Kicker, Bild, etc., is reporting that Noahkai Banks is not going to be in the U.S. squad because he wants to keep his options open. And in fact, some reports claim he's leaning towards Germany at this point. That has sparked a lot of reaction from U.S. fans. Some are angry at Pochettino. They didn't call him up earlier. Others are angry at Banks. So as you can imagine, this is leading to a lot of debate on X.
If these reports are true and rumors are to be believed, I come at it from a completely different direction in that this actually makes me happy. And let me explain. Noahkai Banks, obviously a young talent, and certainly going forward potentially could have helped the U.S. men's national team. But if it is true that he has his sights set on Germany, even for a young player, that's good. We've talked before about how, at least I feel, a national team differs from a club team. A national team has to be something more and bigger than yourself. A national team has to resonate with you and matter to you more than the actual winning and losing and the kicking of the ball. I think at the core of what a national team is the pride that you feel for representing the country that you represent. And so, again, if this is true, thank you, Noahkai Banks. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy for a young player. It's also not easy in the face of not just a World Cup, but a home World Cup potentially being there for you to play in. But I want to see Noahkai Banks succeed. And it's not at the expense of the United States. I know we get all irritated about how, we lost this player. No, we didn't lose this player. And I'm not naive. I understand that there is a recruiting element, especially in the modern game. And especially for a team like the United States, where there are talented players that are dual nationals, tri-nationals. And wooing them is certainly part of the talent and a necessity from a head coaching perspective. But also, you got to meet us at least halfway. And I don't want somebody representing the country that I know and love in any capacity if they don't feel that this is where they should be, and if they don't feel something more. And it has to supersede other options that you have, as attractive as they may be. To those out there, again, that are disappointed, and even those out there that are angry and critical that this one got away, keep in mind that there have been plenty over the years that have picked the United States. And there will be more as we go forward. But I just refuse to look at it as a loss. And so I wish Noahkai Banks well when it comes to his international career. And I hope that he gets to live out that dream of playing for the country that he obviously loves. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have an affinity for the United States, but if this is true, then that love for Germany supersedes the love that he has for the United States. And so I wish him well when it comes to that. And there also is a part of me that is not surprised if this is the case, especially when it comes to Mauricio Pochettino, who has gone out of his way, maybe more so than any coach, to recognize that it is about the group. And it's not about the best players, it's about the best collection of players. And something like this, a late add, a player that has yet to even step on the field for the U.S., and a player that very openly is talking about the different things that he has, as opposed to saying, there's only one team that I want to play for, and that is the team. It just, I think, would run counter to what Mauricio Pochettino is about.
We began this podcast back in February of 2018 in the wake of the U.S. failing to qualify to the World Cup. Everybody was angry, looking to have a go at U.S. soccer. I don't know if you recall, but right around the time we started doing this podcast, there was a young midfielder, Jonathan Gonzalez, born in California to Mexican parents. He chose Mexico, and U.S. fans lost their minds. You see, this shows you everything wrong with U.S. soccer. People like Herculez Gomez even folded it into a larger point about Hispanic Americans and how American soccer doesn't reach out to them enough. And Jonathan Gonzalez has 3 caps for Mexico. He became just like a nothing journeyman player. It's just amazing how U.S. fans in the moment, and I like Noahkai Banks. I think he's going to have a better career than Jonathan Gonzalez. And I do think the fact that Germany's interested in him sort of elevates him in my eyes. But it's just these dual national recruitments, man. U.S. fans just go crazy over them.
Yeah, and I'll just finish it with this, and I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating. Again, I'm not naive. I understand that there is a mercenary aspect to, especially the modern game, and you're going to do what you feel is not just in your heart, but in many times what is good for your future and your brand. But I'm telling you, that will manifest, and that will manifest oftentimes at the worst possible moment. And I don't want that happening to this U.S. men's national team, especially not on the eve of this opportunity, which is this home World Cup this summer. And we got to have everybody from top to bottom, all 26 players, bought in to what Mauricio Pochettino wants, but also bought in to representing what I feel is the greatest country in the world, without a second thought. And if and when that happens, then you're cooking. So hopefully that's ultimately what, when we see that final roster come out at the end of May, it's populated by players that's where they want to be.
I always think it's tricky, too, when you're battling with a country for a player, which is where he plays his club ball.
Yep.
You know, he's in Germany every day in that environment, seeing the excitement in Germany over this World Cup.
Sure.
But, yeah, so we'll see what happens there. By the way, I mentioned the roster. It is going to come out early next week. We're going to do a special roster show, and we're efforting to get John Strong and Stu Holden on that program. Now, we got to go through their agents,
right,
their asking price. We're hoping to get these negotiations over the line. But if all goes well, the Summerall and Madden of U.S. soccer will be guests on that.
Well, they have come out of hibernation. We've seen them on our air here in recent days here. So at least they're functioning above ground now.
To bring this pod full circle, John Strong had the U.S. Baseball scenario right. We did an ad for the Italy-U.S. game during our CONCACAF Champions Cup match, and he said the U.S. with a win would punch their ticket to the quarterfinals. Evidently, Mark DeRosa wasn't watching our broadcast. Otherwise, he would have known.
Well, I mean, it's John Strong. It's a whole nother level when it comes to competency. Have you watched anything or read anything you want to mention?
You know, I haven't started this yet, but two things I've got in the hopper.
Oh.
A lot of people are telling me to watch this Love Story, the JFK Jr.
Oh, yeah,
show.
my wife's watched that one. So she said it was really good.
Also, Steven Spielberg, he's got this Netflix documentary on dinosaurs, which is supposedly very cool.
I saw that.
Sean Sullivan, a big fan, apparently, so I'm going to check that out as well. I did watch the finale of season 2 of Drops of God, which is that Apple TV show about wine. So TV-wise, I've got no shows going on right now, so I'm open.
All right. Well, you're wide open then. I only have one thing. Nuremberg with Russell Crowe and Rami Malek. It was okay. Wasn't great. Russell Crowe plays Herman Goering, and Rami Malek plays a psychologist. I actually thought Malek was miscast in this role, and I think that hurt the in general, he's a great actor, but I just think it was miscast in this role.
This is our last show before the Oscars, which are on Sunday. My buddy Dan Houtman will once again be a seat filler. He did this last year. When people go to the bathroom, he takes their place, so there's no empty seats on TV. So he's excited about that, and we'll see. It sounds like it's between one battle after another and Sinners. One of those two will win Best Picture. Real quick before we go, a little bonus for people that have stayed to listen to the end of the show here, and a little peek into your wonderful mind, Mosse. We were talking about this off camera before we came on set. I would think that you are not just a connoisseur of the things that you talk about, but also when it comes to food. And I asked you the question: if you could take somebody here in Los Angeles to one place for a burger,
which place would that be? And I will give you this. Maybe I should separate out and say one fast food place and one regular dining place, or whatever that is. But you know what I mean.
So for fast food, I said In-N-Out. Aaron Schechter said In-N-Out, and you rolled your eyes. So you don't think In-N-Out is worthy of the hype?
No, I don't think. I mean, I'm a McDonald's guy.
I'm a McDonald's guy too.
Right.
But
you think In-N-Out's better?
Well, the way you framed it, somebody's in LA, so you figure it'd be something they could only have in LA. You can eat McDonald's anywhere.
Okay, but they would enjoy it. Okay, all right. I guess that way. All right, but more importantly, where would you take them for a burger to sit down and
So there was this place called Plan Check,
Mm-hmm.
which I think closed recently, but I used to love that place. In the absence of that, I do like Father's Office a lot in Santa Monica. Now, as soon as I started describing the burger to you, you recoiled because it's blue cheese, arugula.
Of course. The blue cheese ridiculousness. Oh my God! It's such a shishi type of blue cheese does not belong on a burger. Okay. And do they have one of those ridiculous buns that's not really bread, or it's pumpernickel or something stupid like that?
And their whole thing is no substitutions. This is how we make them. Take it or leave it. You can't ask for, hey, can you hold this, a little more of that?
So it's pompous too. Oh my God. All right, well, tell us what you think. When it comes to whatever neck of the woods that you are in, what would be your go-to when it comes to the burger from a fast food perspective? And it could be a local joint, or it could be a world-renowned type of thing, or when it comes to sitting down and actually getting a high-class burger. And if you say blue cheese, you're ridiculous. Anything before we go?
That's it.
All right, keep downloading and reviewing and rating and subscribing and watching and pounding left and right, up and down, double fisting when it comes to the old machine out there over on YouTube and Spotify and Apple. And for those of you out there that did watch when it comes to The Masked Singer, thank you so much for watching. I had a wonderful, wonderful time. I hope that you were entertained. And if not, it's okay. We had a good time. I had a wonderful time. We'll talk to you again next week. Enjoy all your soccer on and off the field. Enjoy your life off the field. And we'll talk to you next week. And until then, and as always, my friends, size the day.